Hey everybody, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Elemental Master by Technosoft. And this is a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up, again by Technosoft. And it plays in a very different vein compared to other Technosoft shooters. A lot of times Technosoft did side-scrolling shooters like the Thunder Force series. So yeah, just like typical Technosoft games on the Sega Genesis, if you hold down A and press start, you can go to your options menu and you can configure a variety of options, you know, controls, game difficulty level. While I have beaten this game on expert mode, I'm going to go ahead and just stick with normal mode so you guys can just see through the game. And if you want to get the game yourself and try it, you can practice expert mode yourself. It's actually not that much difficult than the normal mode, but the last two stages in the game do get a little bit trickier. And just for the sake of flow, I'm gonna leave it on normal mode so we can try to beat this game without dying. You've also got a music and sound test, which is really nice because just like most Technosoft games on the Genesis, this game has a kick-ass soundtrack. It's got a very, very good soundtrack. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. And I'll go ahead and let the story roll out for you guys. Alright, so that was the introduction, and just like the Thunder Force series, you can actually pick which order you want in of your first four stages. I'm going to go with the Fire World. It's, I wouldn't say it's the most difficult, but in reality, every stage is probably the most difficult when you first start off, because you have no extra power-ups. You're stuck with just your main fire power option right here. This game actually introduces a charging system where you can charge up any weapon you have and unleash an extremely dangerous blast, an extremely powerful blast, but you don't have that on the first level. You get that ability after you beat your first level and you get your second weapon. This game actually takes quite a few cues from the Thunder Force series. Mainly the weapon arsenal. You can actually get multiple weapons in the game. I think you get up to 5, and you get one every time you beat a level. And by pressing the C button, you can actually scroll through those weapons. And just like the Thunder Force games, you know, the Thunder Force series was notorious for giving you a lot of weapons that you could pretty much just choose from at any particular time as long as you had them. So, you know, like the Thunder Force series, you do get a lot of weapons in this game. You can just cycle through them depending on, you know, what weapon you like. But you've also got the charge mechanic, which wasn't really something that was introduced in the Thunder Force series until Part 4. And even then, that was only for one weapon. I think actually, come to think of it, I think both Elemental Master and Thunder Force 4 came out the same year, I think. Maybe Elemental Master came first, I don't know. But this does have some elements from the Thunder Force series. If you're a fan of those games, I do recommend checking this out. But as you can see, you can actually shoot in multiple directions in this game. That takes a little bit of time to get used to, but it's actually relatively easy. You just press B to shoot straight forward, and you press A to shoot behind you. And you do want to constantly be shifting back and forth between shooting vertically, upwards, and downwards, just to keep safe. So there's some treasure chests, and it drops some items as you destroy them. Like here's one, and this is a mirror right here. It basically gives you, well, it basically mirrors your body, and you guys might not be able to see it on the footage because of the frame rate being at 30 frames a second. But you've got multiple characters behind you, and they basically, you know, shoot some extra lasers out for you. I'm gonna call them lasers. They're probably not lasers, but yeah. So yeah, you can shoot forward and you can shoot backwards. And now from here on out, I can charge up my weapons as well. At least, not my primary weapon, but all my secondary weapons that I acquire. And then on stage 5 or 6, I don't remember, I think it's at the end of stage 5, I can charge my main weapon. And that's the most powerful weapon in the game, as you guys will see later on. I'll just end up annihilating bosses in like 2 hits. It gets pretty crazy. So now that I beat my first level, I got my first extra sub weapon, and I can press C to cycle to that, and it's a spread shot. So, and if I hold down B, I can charge it up, and then unleash a really strong blast. So one strategy in this game is just to constantly be charging up, because the attacks are so powerful. You can just mow through enemies almost instantly with it. Now, there are some more powerful weapons you get later on in the game. Not really later on in the game, just a few stages in. This game is not long. I don't want to say, like, later on in the game, like, oh, it's going to be a big adventure. It's really not. Elemental Master is a pretty short game, all things considered. I think it's one of the shorter Genesis shooters I've played, actually. Especially with the fact that you can charge up. It's... You know, you can take bosses down almost instantly in this game if you do it just right, and it gets pretty crazy. But a few stages in, you do get a weapon that is sort of like a direct, powerful blast, sort of a direct power shot. Whereas this is like a weaker spread shot. I will get a more direct, powerful shot a few levels in. It might actually be after level 4 now that I think about it. Either level 4... Yeah, it'll be the 4th level, I think. So, but I'll show you guys what I mean once I get it. I'll try out all weapons so you guys can see those. But until you get that, you really just want to charge up because it's just so powerful, no matter what weapon you have. And what's really cool about it is that you can actually just keep moving while you use your charge blast. So not only can you do tons of damage, but you can still be dodging while you do it, which is really useful. So this guy's weak points are his arms. And sometimes you have to wait until the arms are open to do any damage. So you can either play it safe and just shoot at him from a distance, or just charge up and be really risky, but do tons of damage with your charge attack. And that's usually what I do, is I use my charge attack. Alright, so stage 3. Now, I actually prefer this weapon here. It's got more power than the spread shot does. It's a little more direct. You know, it kind of goes straight ahead in one direction. But the charge attack also goes the entire length of the screen in 4 directions. So, like this. It's just extremely useful. It's one of my favorite charge attacks in the game, and the one I have a tendency of using the most. See, for reasons like that. If you do it just right, you can literally just mow everything down in one charge blast. So that chalice I picked up, it actually extends my health bar. My health bar is in the bottom right-hand portion of the screen. Something to be aware of is when you get a game over in this game, you actually lose all of your health power-ups. So all the chalices you picked up, which extended your health bar, go away. And that's actually tricky because if you get a game over on the final level, you know, the cards are stacked against you when you continue because you lose your large health bar, and it's really hard to recover that on the final stage. I don't think they give you that many chalices on the final level. So it definitely benefits you if you can get through the game without dying, so you don't lose your extended health bar. See, again, if you do it just right, and you use your charge attacks, you can just mow down the bosses like they're nothing. So this weapon right here is actually the weapon I was talking about, where it's basically just a straight-ahead shot. It's very, very powerful, and this is the weapon you want to be using on your final stages in the game. But for right now, it's okay to just be using your main weapons. They're still fine for this portion of the game. Especially the charge portions. Actually, the charge portion of the straight-ahead shot is really good as well. So I can clear some of these enemies, I'll demonstrate. See, it's huge, huge spread shot. Alright, so we're getting close to the boss. And the boss is this sort of like flying snake thing. And what you can do is you can actually hit him right as he appears and he's going off screen. Right there. And then you can do it again right as he comes back down. And if you do it just right, a lot of times you can kill him in just 2 hits. Otherwise, he actually is kind of a tough boss. He's got a lot of projectiles and his pattern's relatively unpredictable. Or at least it seems unpredictable. It might be completely predictable. He comes down so fast, I just was never able to tell. So this is the start of the final stretch of the game. We got a few levels now from here on out, and then we're pretty much done. Things do get a little more difficult here, but really I don't think the game starts picking up a lot until the final stage. So we got another weapon we just acquired, and you know what, to be honest, I don't really ever use it. I don't find it to be all that useful. I'd rather just use a charge shot on, say, this weapon. like that. It's just so much more useful. So these black ghostly enemies, they actually appear, and the second they appear in like a semi-human form, that's when you can attack them. However, if you don't attack them right away, they bounce around and then turn into these spike balls. So you need to watch out for that. When they turn into the spike balls, you're not able to destroy them. So now, all you shooter experts out there are probably looking at this game, and you're probably saying to yourself, like, man, this game's a cakewalk. This game is super easy. Again, you do have extra difficulty modes on top of this, and I do recommend playing the harder difficulty modes when you get good with the game. Because the game is a little more interesting to go through on expert mode. It's definitely more of a challenge. So much so where I'm not 100% certain if I'll beat the game on my first try. It's still definitely not the hardest shooter out there on expert mode. It's one of the easier Genesis shooters, I think, actually. All things considered, even on expert mode. A lot of Genesis shooters are actually pretty difficult. And, but Elemental Master on expert mode, it's not that hard, but it will give you a run for your money if you're not used to the game. So this boss is harder to take down almost instantly. And from this point on, we can actually charge up our main weapon here, which is extremely, extremely powerful. And you guys will see exactly what I mean by that on this next boss, where 2 charge shots kills the boss. It's really, really easy. And on the final boss, it's almost the same way. Just a few charge shots kills each form. It's pretty crazy. I don't know if that was intentional, you know. I wonder if the developers, like, wanted to allow you to kill bosses so quickly. I don't know. But I do know that in Technosoft shooters, a lot of times the bosses can go down very, very fast. So, you know, maybe that's a design philosophy they went by back in the day. I mean, Thunder Force 3, Thunder Force 4, you could kill bosses pretty quickly in both those games. Thunder Force 5 especially, man. So here we go, we can charge this up. So this level actually gets really challenging on expert mode. This corridor here incorporates wind on expert mode, which makes it a lot more challenging because, you know, the wind will be pushing you into the spikes. So there are some more level dynamics on expert mode, which is pretty cool. So this level is really where you want to start using your straight ahead shot, the power fire shot, whatever it's called. I'm gonna just call it the fire shot. That's probably what it is, actually. And it pretty much kills everything in one hit on this level. Otherwise, if you're using, like, the spread shot, you know, or if you're using this straight ahead shot, it takes a lot longer to kill the enemies. And I think it takes even longer on expert mode, actually. I think the enemies actually deal or take more damage on expert mode, so something to keep in mind if you're playing it on the harder skill modes. These mummies that come in from behind are especially troublesome. Now you can try to just use the charge technique, but the issue with that is that sometimes you just get overwhelmed. And so it might actually just be easier to just use the fire shot. The only thing about the fire shot is you do have to be a little more accurate with your shooting, otherwise you miss. And if you miss, your enemies don't die. So... Alright, so this is the boss I was talking about. Where we can basically kill her in 2 hits. And you have to use this charge shot too, otherwise you can't damage this boss. From here on out, you pretty much have to use this weapon on the bosses. And I found that out the hard way yesterday, when I was practicing this game for the first time. It was 3 hits, but you can do it in 2. Alright, I believe this is the final stage. Again, this is not a very long game. But you do have to fight all the bosses over again. Starting right here. But since you've got your major charge shot, you can just mow them down almost instantly, which is great. So, walking on fire in this game does hurt you as well, so... They sort of bait you in with some health there. So as you can see, using your main charge shot is just absurdly powerful in this game. It's extremely, extremely powerful. But since it does only shoot straight ahead, it is a little bit riskier to use it. That is something to keep in mind. Alright, final boss, guys. He's got 3 forms, and they all go down very, very quickly. So 2 hits for the second form. Two hits for the third form. Absurdly easy final boss. Absurdly easy. Alright guys, so that is Elemental Master for the Sega Genesis. It's a pretty solid shooter. It's, you know, it's not the hardest game on the system, but it does take actually a little bit of time to get used to because of its, you know, reverse fire nature. It is kind of interesting. It's a really solid shooter. It's got good graphics, good music. It is fun. It's Technosoft. You can't go wrong with Technosoft. And I don't really know how much replay value it's got though, because it isn't that challenging compared to, like, Thunder Force 4 required a lot more memorization for me to actually be able to finish it, and then the harder difficulty modes added, you know, more intense gameplay, which made the replay value higher on that game. Whereas this game, I kind of practiced it for an hour. I was able to beat it without a problem, beat it back and forth two or three more times after that. And it was just like, oh, okay, and I don't really feel like playing this game anymore. So, but for those of you guys out there that might not be, you know, super familiar with shoot 'em ups, I do recommend checking this game out. You might really enjoy it. Either way, it's got great graphics and a great soundtrack, and it's definitely worth checking out. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this Let's Play, and if you've never seen this game before, or if you're only mildly familiar with it, now you kind of know what it's all about. You know how to progress through it if you go back to it and play it again, or if you go and play it for your first time. And yeah, I'll be back with some more Let's Plays quite soon. I've been on a Let's Play kick lately, so you guys should see a steady stream of Let's Plays for a while. And yeah, stay tuned for that. If you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe. I've got loads of Let's Plays and long plays already on the channel, as well as a bunch of other types of videos you guys can check out. But yeah, for everybody else that's already subscribed, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys soon.